We need to finish up this lesson 2.4 today, so we're going to start taking a look at these word problems as they relate to inequalities. So you all have this paper in front of you, and we'll just go over this problem. It costs $15 to rent a chainsaw, plus $2 an hour. You are a very nice person, so since there's a problem in your neighbor's yard and a tree fell down, you want to go there and you want to help them out and you want to clean up, but your funds are only at $35, so you don't have any more than $35. And we can use an inequality then to set up a problem to figure out the maximum amount of time that you can rent the chainsaw. So we do need to pick out a variable, what it'll represent, set up an inequality, because how much money is it that we have to spend? $35. So that means our inequality is going to have to be less than or equal to $35 in order to spend on this particular project. Oops, I did not mean that one. Hit the wrong button. So we need to think it through. What variable would make sense to represent this question? Or what are we choosing a variable to represent? S, R, doesn't really matter, but what is the variable representing? He said how many hours? The maximum time. So it would probably make sense to pick something that would make you think of time. So probably T, or someone said the number of hours, so possibly an H. I happen to have chosen T, but at the beginning of any of these problems, it's a good idea to write down what the variable is and what it represents. What the variable is and what it represents. So then as you're going through and you're doing the problem, and then you finish it up, you found out what T equals, then you know what your answer actually represents. So it costs $15 plus $2 per hour. What expression would represent that first sentence? Addition? Okay, so 15 plus 2t, because $2 per hour. The 15 is, if you just walk out of the door with it and walk back in, you're still paying 15 bucks. So 15 plus $2 per hour. I know for a fact that this is how they do the rental things in like Home Depot and whatnot. I had to rent a floor sander this summer, and that's how they did it. It was a certain amount and then a certain amount per hour after that. I give myself projects. Also, so you have at most $35 to spend. So what inequality symbol would that be? Less than or equal to. So 15 plus your 2t, less than or equal to 35. From here, your friend algebra is going to help you out. And so don't forget how to do that. You're probably ahead of me. That's good. You always want to try to be ahead of me on this for the benefit of our friends at home. If we take away 15 from both sides, we get 20. And you divide by 2, you get 10. So that's fantastic. But t is less than or equal to 10. What does that actually tell you?
It tells you that you can't go over 10 hours with the chainsaw.
Okay, good. You can't go over 10 hours with the chainsaw. You can rent it for up to 10 hours. Would you be able to, would it be fine if you returned it after 5 hours?
Yes.
Would it be fine if you returned it right at 10 hours? Yes, but not 11 hours. Okay, so when you finish a word problem, you need to write it out like this. You can rent the chainsaw for up to 10 hours. So make it in, if it's a word problem, you might even want to make it into a phrase or a sentence so that you're expressing what it is that you actually found. T for time, less than or equal to 10 hours. Now this one's, if we wanted to be super technical about it, you can't run it for negative hours, so you might want to just stick a greater than or equal to 0 out the end here. But we're fine with less than or equal to 10. You're also responsible for, thinking it through what types of answers actually make sense in the problem. So our maximum amount is 10 hours, and any of the times lower than 10 hours also works out. Okay. Everybody good? All right, let's take a look at the other one. I know word problems are not everybody's favorite, but they don't have to be that bad if you carefully choose a variable at the beginning and work carefully. Martha has scores of 88, 94, and 90 on her first 3 algebra tests. Okay. And an average score of at least 92 earns an A. So I'm using our LCA standards here. What possible... Whoa. What score on the 4th test will earn her an A? This is a badly worded sentence. I'm sorry about that. So what does she need to get on the 4th test in order to earn an A? So we have to think about this in terms of an average. I'm sorry, go ahead.
So wouldn't you add them all up and divide by how many tests she took?
Sure. So how many... Now, we're trying to find the score on the 4th test. So what would you add up and divide by what number? Yeah. It's okay. Say it.
No, it's okay.
They can't hear you.
You can't hear me? Oh. 88 plus 94 plus 90 plus X divided by 4.
Beautiful. So what she said was 88 divided plus 94 plus 90 plus X, or whatever variable you want, divided by 4. Because you're adding up 4 test values divided by 4. That would be the average. And we want it to be at least 92. So we would be at least 92. Is it less than or equal to or greater than or equal to? Greater than or equal to. You want it to be more than or equal to a 92 in order to get the A. So greater than. Think through the context of the question, those at least and at most. And you can always ask yourself all the way through, well, wait a minute, if I got this, what would this be? So that would be helpful to you. So when you set up the problem, I'm going to try to erase super quick here. It looks like this to start with. Okay, here's your 88 plus 94 plus 90 plus X over 4. Greater than or equal to 92 because that's what you want to do. And we want to then solve it. So what would be a great first step to get rid of that fraction? Good, we're going to multiply by 4. So when you do that, you multiply both sides by 4. It's going to make this 4 cancel out, and the other side becomes 92 times 4. And so we get 368. These things are all here, so then you use your amazing addition skills, and you add them all up. And you should get 272. Then your amazing algebra skills where you subtract the 272 from both sides. And there we go. We have this. X is greater than or equal to 96. And then so that actually tells you, what does that represent in your world of your algebra? Could be a 96 or greater. So you have to get at least a 96 on that test. Martha must score at least a 96. Could be a 96, but at least a 96 in order to make that work out. And then that just finishes up what we were talking about with our inequalities. So it will be great when you do your assignment.